This episode is brought to you by Ariston Specialties in Bloomfield, Connecticut. They're makers of amazing olive oils and other Greek delights. Check them out online at aristonspecialties.com. That's Ariston, Ariston, specialties.com. Look for us at the all-new Food Schmooze Party. Now, if the words all new are in our podcast and you see it, that is the original gang with all brand new shows, no repeats, everything brand new. This time, delicious drinks with or without alcohol. I'm Faith Middleton. Let's start with Chris Prosperi, who is co-owner of Metro Beast in Simsbury, Connecticut, and he's always got something interesting to drink. So, Chris, start us off, and then I'm going to introduce everybody one by one. So, what's your drink of right now, buddy?
All right, so summer drinks for me, I like them lighter in alcohol. So if you remember last year, my go-to drink was the Aperol Spritz, and I loved it. Great cocktail. My problem was I might have been drinking a little too many of them, and the sugar content is a little high. And I didn't know until I looked at the bottle of Aperol, and I'm like, oh, that's all sugar. So I had to stop this year. But I love that spritzy kind of wine thing, ice cold. So this year I came up with, experimenting around. I take a ice cold rosé sparkling like a Prosecco. And again, something inexpensive, $12 to $15, no more. And I take that, chill it down really well, pour it in a glass. Lots of ice. I put in like 4 or 5 big ice cubes. And then I found a grapefruit sparkling water. And again, you can find that or use a lemon or a lime, any kind of flavor, and you just top it off with that. It cuts the alcohol down on the sparkling wine, so it's much easier to drink. And just being cold and refreshing, and you get double, I always call it my double bubbles, because you get the bubbles from the Prosecco and you get the bubbles from the sparkling water. And it's just super simple, super refreshing, and knock down the sugar a little bit from that Aperol Spritz, which I still love and I still have every once in a while, but you really do have to be careful.
No, that's a great idea, Chris. Really great idea. Okay.
I love the double bubble part.
I know.
Double bubbles.
So I'm Faith Middleton in Guilford, and next, why don't we try, I'll get to my thing in a little bit. I have a watermelon tequila freeze, and so I'll tell you about that in a little bit. Okay, so how about Mark Raymond? What do you have? You're usually a wine guy, but I'm just interested to see what you come up with, Mark.
So I love margaritas in the summer. And I think margaritas can always be fun, and there's a lot of different flavors you can do. But one of the things I got turned on to recently was a recipe it's actually from the Food Network, Bobby Flay, and it's a coconut margarita. And the recipe is real simple. It's 2 ounces of coconut. You got to use like the coconut cream. You can't use coconut water. Coconut water won't work. Use coconut cream so you get that richness to it.
Thick.
2 ounces of tequila, 1 ounce of lime juice, a half ounce of triple sec, maybe a splash of simple syrup, and you put this all into a shaker with some crushed ice, and then shake it up. And then one of the things I do on the side is I actually do this for my pancakes all the time, but I take some of the unsweetened coconut and I put it into a saute pan on the oven, and I just toast my coconut, and it just takes a little while. You heat up the coconut in the pan and you just keep moving it around, and you'll see it start to get like golden brown, and it brings out all the oils.
Great aroma too.
And I'll put that aside, let it cool down, and I'll just sprinkle a little bit of the top of that over that margarita once I pour it into the glass. So you get the toasted coconut in the coconut margarita, and then a fresh wedge lime on the side. Oh, it's heaven.
That
it's
is
so
ridiculous.
I love it.
That is just
So good.
That is ridiculously good, Mark Raymond. Oh my God! It was Bobby Flay, you said?
It was Bobby Flay's. I was looking up. I'm like, I need a different kind of margarita. I found it, and I said, this. I love coconut. So yeah, I make coconut pancakes all the time. So
all right, so. We're going to get to Carl Franklin in just a second, who's our associate producer. But at first, associate producer Joanne Church. And I have had many cocktails at her house. And so I am very curious to see what she comes up with. What do you got?
Well, it's not something I made, but I went to a birthday party on Monday and they were making bellinis.
ooh,
But what they used was they had an oversized shaker. They put the Prosecco in, and then they had Smirnoff peach lemonade flavored vodka. And these little bottles, they had like 30 of the nips lined up, the 1.7 ounce nips.
Yeah.
So the bartender would know, you could use a nip, but it looked so festive on the bar, these little bottles, and it tasted great. And it was on the rocks. It was sweet and beautiful.
Refreshing.
So I'd never tried that, but since I had it for a birthday on Monday, I thought, wow, it was fabulous.
So was it too sweet?
It was not too sweet. And it just had a little more kick because it had vodka with your Prosecco.
Yeah.
But the color is orange, pinkish.
Like a
it was
sunset.
beautiful.
Wow.
And just lining the nips up too was such a great idea because it just looked.
And for anybody who doesn't know, what we all refer to casually as nips are those little tiny bottles of vodka, gin, scotch, whatever you want, and they're very inexpensive. And if it's all that you and a few people want to make your drink, it's an inexpensive way to go. Okay, so
we called them airplane bottles when we were young.
Yeah,
because that's what you
get them on the planes.
Right?
Were they free? Does anyone remember if they were free?
At one point,
they were.
Okay, Carl Franklin is coming up, and we're going to see what he likes. And we're going to pause for this message, and we'll be right back. So stay with us. I'm Faith Middleton. This is the Food Schmooze Party, and we are an independent podcast now, and we love being with you. We love hearing from you. Go to faithmiddleton.com. And so now we have Carl Franklin coming up, and he always comes up. He's a keto guy, and he does this show called Two Keto Dudes. So I never know what he's going to do. So, Carl, what do you have?
Well, first of all, I'm so glad that nobody sank to Fireball.
Oh,
thank you for that. I hate that stuff. It's like childhood candy liquor. Yuck. All right. Well, anyway, and I'm sorry if I offended anyone by stomping on their Fireball parade. But so I noticed a theme here, and that is a lot of us, we're getting older, and we have to watch our sugars. Mm-hmm. And it's not that we're overweight or we have diabetes.
I'm not getting older. Is anybody getting older?
No.
I hadn't even thought of that. Let me look at my watch. Oh, no. Okay. Go ahead.
Faith just turned 39. So I have a solution for you, and this isn't so much a drink as it is a hack. And the hack is to make a simple syrup out of allulose. And allulose is it's a newfangled sweetener, and it's not chemical. Okay, it is made in a lab, but it's made from fructose, and it's categorized as a rare sugar. It's 70% as sweet as sugar. It has absolutely no aftertaste. It doesn't have any chemical flavor that you can tell. And if you just take 1 part allulose to 1 part water, and then just put it on low and dissolve the allulose in the water, and then let it cool and put it in a squeeze bottle in the fridge, you can use that in place of simple syrup in any cocktail. And it has 0 impact on blood sugar.
Wow.
Let me say that again. 0 carbs, 0 impact on blood glucose. So you can make your cocktails with it no matter what they are. You could make your coconut margarita.
Carl, can I jump in and say everybody is asking at this point, where do you get allulose? Is it ALLULOSE? Where do you get it?
That is
It
correct.
looks exactly like sugar.
I get it on Amazon, and I've made a link to the brand that I get, Keystone Pantry, and it's at allulose.2keto.com. The number 2, KETO.com. That's a shortcut that'll take you there. And if you can't get there for some reason, just go to Amazon and search for allulose.
Are you saying any simple syrup cocktail? Well,
exactly. Like Mark talked about the toasted coconut margarita, and he said you could put a little simple syrup in there, so he could use it there. Chris's cocktail with the wine spritzer, he could squirt a little bit in there. I mean, you could make a vodka drink like Joanne did. And then instead of a simple syrup or sugar, you could just use that. And I like keto mojitos, which I make with rum.
I love that.
oh,
And here's another thing you need to know, and that's hard liquors like rum, whiskey, gin, vodka, bourbon. They don't have any carbs. If it's a distilled spirit, even if it tastes sweet.
If you're thinking about keto.
Yeah, well, if you're watching your sugar.
Or if you're like me, I watch my sugar.
Yeah, and you don't have to be keto. You don't have to be diabetic or obese to watch your sugar. It's just a good idea.
It's when my doctor tells me that if you keep going this way, you're going to head towards diabetes. That's why. Yeah. That's where I am, right? I'm not diabetic. Yep. I'm not pre-diabetic. I just get yelled at when they check my sugar, and they're like, "You keep going like this, and we're going to have other conversations."
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay.
So even a dark, sweet rum like Gosling's that you normally make a dark and stormy with, that has 0 sugar. So you can make it dark and stormy. You could put some of that over ice, some lime, and get some ginger beer or, diet ginger ale or even ginger seltzer, a little squirt of simple syrup, and you got a dark and stormy.
And so, Carl, are you saying that we can do a sugar-free mixture to any of the alcohols that you mentioned?
Yes.
That we can put a drink, liquid in addition that's sugar-free. And
Correct.
if you're worried about your sugar intake for health reasons or whatever, this works.
Yep.
At least according to my fake doctorate. At least according. Okay.
I like it. You know what, Carl? What I'm going to try? I make my own soda water. And I was thinking I'm looking like when I go to get my grapefruit sparkling water for my cocktail, I have to really look hard to find ones with low sugar because I pulled one off the shelf, brought it home. I was like, wow, this tastes great. And then I look and I'm like, now I know why it tastes great because it's loaded. Yeah. But I could totally take allulose, make a simple syrup, right? Add that to my soda machine, right? I have a little soda stream thing, and then I flavor it with some grapefruit, and I make my own natural soda.
There you
with
go.
A little bit of allulose, and that's going to be my cocktail. I like it.
Great. Okay, so let me just jump in quickly and say that my favorite summer drink I learned from my nephew Dan, and he said, first he pulled out a bag. He took a watermelon and he cut it into chunks, in the inside fruit part, obviously seed free. Cut it into a bunch of chunks, put it in a plastic bag, and threw it in the freezer. So I'm there, and he pulls out the bag of frozen watermelon chunks. And I'm looking, and he said, I'm going to make you a drink, and I think you're going to like it. And so he puts in, he throws the watermelon chunks frozen into the blender, and then he puts in the appropriate amount of tequila. Some people do 2 to 3, 1 to 3, whatever it is you want to do. Yeah. And then he buzzes it in the blender and then pours it into the glasses. And then, usually, it's kind of a wonderful glass, and then puts a little bit of, a lime cube on the, resting on the edge of the glass. I want to tell you that this watermelon tequila freeze is so freaking delicious that I couldn't believe it. It's all I wanted to have. It's just like, So good.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody got anything else? I just don't want to, in case you have,
I have another hack for you, another tip. So if you're going to freeze something, in the freezer, you want things to be airtight. And so if you don't have a vacuum sealer, you can use what I call the Archimedes method, which is you take a Ziploc bag, you put your food in it, watermelon or whatever, and you submerge it in water, in a pot of water, and you close it almost so that it's closed, but not quite. Submerge the whole thing under the water, and the water won't go in the bag because of the pressure differential. It actually pushes all the air out. And so the last bit of sealing you do when it's underwater, and when you pick it up and take it out, it's essentially an airtight,
super cool
vacuum sealed bag without a vacuum sealer.
Does that mean it's faster? It works faster? It freezes faster?
No, it just means that it won't form ice crystals or freezer burn.
Yep.
Okay.
Great
Okay,
idea.
well.
I do that with my cheese. It works really well.
Your cheese?
Like if I buy big blocks of cheese when I see them on sale in the grocery store, and then it's way too much, right? But if you see a good price on cheese, you got to buy it. So how do you keep the cheese? So I cut it into chunks and then I freeze it. And I had this little tabletop vacuum sealer. And of course they don't last. You use it a lot. They don't last that long. It broke. And I looked online and I saw that same method that Carl just mentioned being done, and it works. It really does work.
It really does work.
You just submerge it. Like you said, you don't seal it all the way, almost all the way. You dump it in the water, and then seal it, and all the air is gone because the water pushes the air out of the bag, the pressure from the water.
Oh, that's a
very cool trick.
Oh boy! So
and no freezer burn, right?
We're full of hacks today.
Yep, love it.
Okay, so
I have another summer drink.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right.
So another party that I was invited to.
I gotta start hanging with
sangria.
Joanne.
Yeah,
you should. So the white sangria. First of all, I'm like so impressed that people spent time like slicing and dicing the fruit. And I just thought I'd never made sangria, so I just thought it was white wine and fruit. But my friend told me her recipe is a half a cup of apricot brandy, a quarter cup of peach schnapps, a bottle of Pinot Grigio. And then she slices up 2 oranges, 2 limes, 2 peaches. Of course, you pit them and slice them. And then a cup and a half of strawberries, halved. And you mix all that together. She chills it for at least 4 hours. So, it's not a spur of the moment party, but I guess you can always add ice cubes. And then at the end, so she pours it in the glass. But the glass is so beautiful because you have a slice of orange, a slice of lime, a slice of peach, and a strawberry. So it's absolutely beautiful. And then she tops it off with Prosecco.
Nice.
So,
there you go.
Yeah.
How many, wait a minute, how many other liquors could go into that drink? That is hilarious.
I thought... Right, and like you're not topping it off with club soda.
Hey, you know what?
No, you're not.
I just want to say that all of these drinks today that we have each talked about could easily just exist without alcohol in them. If you're somebody who, for diet reasons or health reasons, you can't have liquor, you don't want to. These combinations are delicious without alcohol in them. It makes it possible for the kids to have them. And so, alcohol or no alcohol, this is another one of our drink parties on the Faith Middleton Food Schmoes. We have many more of these, and we'll probably come back to this show again for all different seasons. This is look for these words, the all new Faith Middleton Food Schmoes Party Podcast. The words all new are key because it signifies that these aren't reruns, all over the place. These are the brand new shows. Faith Middleton all new Food Schmooze podcast. I am dearly in love with my partners, Chris Prosperi, Mark Raymond, Joanne Church, and Carl Franklin. And I want to say that Bon Bon, our mascot, is in his bed, curled up at my feet. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back next time.
All right.
Bye.